The siren was deafening. The antiseptic smell was overpowering. "Ashley Brooke, stay with us!" the nurse yelled. Bright lights seared my eyes and my head pounded like a drum. Just 3 days before, at my brother's graduation, he'd grabbed the microphone and stared right at me. "I need $1.5 million from your trust for my startup." My mom leaned in, her voice like ice. "It's your duty. Refuse, and don't ever call us family again." I stood up and said, "No." The crowd went silent. Then everything went crazy. Now all I felt was pain, pinning me to the bed. A dark figure in a sharp suit stood at the foot of my bed. "Miss Grant," the man said, his voice low. "Your grandmother left you more than just money. It's time. If you've ever been treated like the family bank, praised 1 minute, and punished the next for standing your ground, drop your story below. You're not the only one who said no." 3 days before all this happened, I still believed that family was forever. I grew up in Naples, Florida, where the Gulf waters sparkled like they were making a promise, and the resort my father owned was our whole world. When I was 12, I started working at the front desk after school. Guests would roll in with their luggage carts. I'd check their passports, assign them rooms with ocean views, and fix any double bookings before the managers even noticed. Martin Brooks' dad watched me once from the lobby camera. He called the head concierge later. "Ashley is reliable," I overheard him say on the intercom. That was as close to affection as I got. The lobby always smelled like citrus polish and sunscreen. I wore a navy blazer that was 2 sizes too big, with the sleeves rolled up. Tourists would ask for extra towels, and I'd run to housekeeping to get them. If a honeymoon couple argued about a missing reservation, I'd upgrade them to a suite with champagne. Dad would nod his approval from his office window. No smile, just a thumbs up that meant the system was working. By the time I turned 15, I had saved $8,000 in a shoebox under my bed, tips from bellhops, birthday money, weekend shifts at the pool bar. I was planning to buy a used sedan to get to college. Then Justin turned 15 and wanted a red Mustang convertible to cruise the causeway. One afternoon, Mom, Deborah Brooks, pulled me into the resort office. Sunlight was streaming through the blinds. "Your brother needs a confidence boost on wheels," she explained. "Family invests in the future." She slid the shoebox envelope across the desk. That evening, I watched Justin peel out, exhaust popping. He waved once through the open top, not saying a word. The Mustang became his signature. He'd park it crooked in the employee lot, leaving the keys dangling. Guests would ask if the shiny car belonged to the owner's son, and the staff would confirm it. Meanwhile, I biked to school, the chain rattling all the way. When I was 18, I was juggling 2 jobs. I'd work the early shift pouring lattes at the resort cafe, and in the evenings, I'd tutor high school seniors in algebra for $25 an hour. Every dollar went into a joint checking account that Mom reviewed monthly. Justin's acceptance to the University of Miami arrived with a $48,000 sticker for the first year. Dad looked up from his eggs at breakfast and said, "You're already earning. Cover semester 1. Big sister duty." I transferred the funds before classes even started. Justin posted beach selfies, tagging them #collegelife. I pulled double shifts to keep my community college enrollment active. Sophomore year, Justin joined a fraternity. The dues were $5,000. I cleaned guest rooms at midnight, vacuuming sand and folding towels into swans. Mom called it a, quote, temporary sacrifice. Dad called it being a, quote, team player. I called the bank to confirm the wire transfers. Fraternity formals required tux rentals, and there were spring break flights to Cancun. I stocked mini bars until 2 a.m., my hands raw from bleach. Justin sent postcards with palm trees and neon signs. Mom framed one in the lobby with the caption, "Our Scholar Abroad." At 20, Justin pitched his yacht booking app in a business class. The professors raved about it. Dad hosted a dinner for local investors on the resort rooftop. Candlelight flickered on the champagne flutes as Justin demoed wireframes on a projector. "Seamless luxury reservations," he promised. Applause rippled through the crowd. Mom beamed, calling him, "Our boy, the visionary." Dad raised a toast, saying, "To the next Brooks Empire." I cleared plates between courses. Later, Dad cornered me by the ice machine. "The prototype needs servers," he said. "Your remaining $12,000 closes the gap." Under the humming fluorescent lights, I logged into mobile banking and completed the transfer. Justin high-fived an investor. My name never came up. The $12,000 vanished into cloud credits and UI designers. Justin's GitHub was filled with commits. Dad installed a second monitor in the lobby for live metrics. Guests watched the booking numbers climb, and the staff whispered about IPO dreams. 22 brought Justin's summer internship in Silicon Valley. Flight, housing, networking events, another $18,000. I took the graveyard shift, scrubbing kitchens after banquets, grease caked under my nails, my back aching from bending over industrial sinks. Mom sent care packages to California. Dad framed Justin's offer letter in the lobby. The plaque read, "Future CEO." I ate cold leftovers in the staff break room, calculating how many more months until I could get my own degree. Internship photos flooded social media. Justin with venture partners. Rooftop bars in San Francisco. Hashtags. Hashtag to Crising, hashtag Cash Brooks Legacy. Mom forwarded them to resort vendors, writing, "Proof of concept." Back home, Justin refined the app. Beta testers raved about it. Dad expanded the resort conference room for demo days. Investors flew in on private jets. Mom coordinated catering. I printed name tags, refilled coffee urns, and smiled through introductions. Justin practiced investor pitches in the mirror. Scalable, disruptive, monetized day one. Dad nodded his approval. Mom adjusted his collar, saying, "You're the face of tomorrow." Between setups, I overheard boardroom talk. Seed round at $2 million valuation. Justin leads product. My role? Keep the coffee hot. The pattern had been set years earlier. Praise for Justin's ideas, silence for my execution. Money flowed in one direction. Out. Never in. I stood on the beach one dawn, waves lapping at my ankles. The resort loomed behind me, lights still on from overnight cleaning. It hit me. They saw me as an ATM with a factory-set combination. 27. Deposits forbidden, withdrawals expected. No PIN required, just family obligation. The realization settled heavily. Every shift, every transfer, every compliment aimed at Justin had trained me for this role. Reliable Ashley, practical Ashley, the one who gave without counting. Dad scheduled family photos for the resort brochure. Justin stood center frame, arms wide, Mom and Dad flanking him. I stood slightly behind, holding a clipboard. The photographer asked me to step aside for balance. "Background," he said. Dad agreed. "She handles operations." I smiled for the camera. Inside, the combination lock ticked closer to 27. Justin's app hit campus app stores. Downloads spiked. Dad ordered branded polo shirts. Brooks yachts. Staff wore them proudly. I folded laundry in the basement, steam fogging my glasses. Mom planned a launch party. Invitations went to chamber members, city council, and the yacht club. Budget: $25,000. Catered lobster, open bar. I balanced the invoice against payroll. "Worth the investment," Mom said. "Visibility," I nodded. Visibility for whom? The party night arrived. String lights draped the palms. A live band played reggae. Justin worked the crowd, demo tablet in hand. Investors clustered around him. Dad introduced him as the innovator. Mom circulated with champagne. I refilled ice buckets, wiped spills, and directed valets. A venture partner asked Dad about equity split. "Family enterprise," Dad replied. "All in the blood." I carried trash bags to the dock. The Gulf swallowed the reflections of the celebration. My phone showed 0 balance alerts. Justin found me later. "Sis, the numbers look solid. Pre-seed closes next week." He clapped me on the shoulder. "Your support got us here." Support. The word tasted like salt. I returned to the party. Guests toasted Justin's future. No one noticed the sister in the staff apron. The ATM analogy crystallized. Locked until 27, withdrawals on demand, no interest earned, no questions asked. I wiped a table and stacked chairs. The band packed up. Dad counted RSVPs for Phase 2. Mom photographed Justin with the mayor. I slipped away to the employee locker room. Fluorescent buzz. My reflection in the mirror showed tired eyes and a faded resort logo. The lock waited. The combination was mine alone. 1 week before graduation, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Fletcher Law Group flashed on the screen. I locked my bedroom door and opened the message under the lamp. The formal letterhead filled the display. Dear Miss Ashley Brooks, the Margaret Grant Revocable Trust activates on your 27th birthday. Valuation, $92 million. Origin, 1985 Hotel Management Software Patents. Global licensing, compounded royalties, equity holdings. Reason for designation. Margaret Grant specified in her 2015 codicil that the principal beneficiary must be the first female descendant to demonstrate sustained financial independence without family subsidy. Ashley Brooks met this criterion at age 22, having self-funded community college tuition and living expenses for 4 consecutive years while employed at Brooks Resort. Enclosed, summary codicil excerpt. Independence audit contact for details. Harold Fletcher, Esquire. I scrolled through the codicil. Grandma's handwriting was scanned in blue ink. Ashley works the front desk at 12, saves every tip, never asks for an allowance. She is the builder, not the borrower. The money is hers alone at 27. No co-trustees, no overrides. The attachment loaded spreadsheets, columns of dividends dating back decades, reinvested gains, tax efficiencies. Grandma Margaret Grant pioneered digital reservations for budget chains. She licensed the code in 1985, retaining perpetual royalties. The fortune compounded while I wiped counters. A knock rattled the door. Mom's voice. Ashley, dining room. Family discussion. I descended to the oak table set for 4. Dad stood at the head, a folder centered. Mom placed printouts beside the water glasses. Justin scrolled through emails, his feet up on a chair. Mom broke the silence. The law firm sent us a duplicate notice. She aligned the pages. $92 million. Grandma's work paid off. Dad opened the folder. Margaret intended family benefit. Justin's platform extends her hospitality vision. I scanned the summary. My name topped every page. Activation clause, age 27. Codicil excerpt highlighted in yellow. Justin pocketed his phone. Bridge capital for launch. Investors close in days. Mom leaned in. You don't need it, darling. You manage fine. Justin's future requires scale. Dad produced a single document. Power of attorney, sign. We administer until maturity, streamlines taxes. I read line by line. Irrevocable grant. Full authority to Martin Brooks and Deborah Brooks. Immediate effect. Distribution, discretion. My throat tightened. This hands over control before I even access anything. Grandma wrote, she's the sole builder. Dad's eyes narrowed. Family pools resources. You benefit long term. Justin added, post Series A equity shares for everyone. Your stake grows. Mom's voice softened. Denying help divides us. After years of support, I slid the paper away. I won't sign. The codicil says no overrides. Dad's fist hit the wood. Glasses jumped. Repeat that. I won't sign. My words cut clean. Justin laughed sharply. Legacy cash. You're blocking progress, Mom whispered. Selfish? After all we've given. Dad rose. You enjoy privileges here. Roof, utilities, vehicle. I met his stare. I covered the last 3 utility bills from cafe tips. Grandma tracked every receipt. Silence swallowed the room. A clock ticked in the hall. Dad pointed upstairs. Room, reflect. I climbed, the door locking behind me. The email glowed. $92 million. Larger than Dad's annual bookings. Codicil glowing. Ashley is the builder. Grandma's conference photo watched from the shelf. 1986 floppy disk raised like a trophy. I typed to Mr. Fletcher. Require complete trust files. Codicil originals urgent. A reply pinged. Compiling. Call office 9 a.m. Downstairs, voices rose. Dad on contingencies. Mom on persuasion. Justin on deadlines. I sat against the headboard. The house shrank around inherited expectations. Grandma had measured independence in pay stubs and sacrifice. For once, the combination waited on me. Morning light filtered through the blinds. Breakfast unfolded in frost. Dad stirred his coffee without looking up. Mom sliced grapefruit. Justin reviewed pitch decks. Dad set his spoon down. Document remains. Sign by Friday. Or we explore alternatives. Alternatives. The threat lingered. I finished my orange juice, grabbed my apron, and headed to the resort. Check-ins queued at the desk. I processed arrivals, upgraded suites, resolved complaints. Inside, the deadline ticked. Thursday blurred into routine. Dad emailed resort staff about efficiency reviews. Mom hosted a charity luncheon. A fixed smile plastered on her face. Justin flew to Miami for investor coffee. Friday dawn broke humid. The power of attorney waited on the sideboard. Pen aligned. Graduation day arrived. The University of Miami stage glowed under spotlights. 300 guests filled the bleachers, programs fluttering in the humid breeze. My family sat front row, dressed in crisp white, Dad's linen suit immaculate, Mom's pearl earrings catching the light, Justin adjusting his gown. The ceremony flowed smoothly. Names echoed over the speakers. Diplomas handed out. Applause rolled in waves. Justin paced backstage, mouthing lines into a handheld mic. "Thank you, Dean. Proud Hurricanes." His turn came. He bounded up the steps, cap tassel swinging. The crowd cheered louder for the local resort air. Dad filmed on his phone. Mom waved a small flag. Justin gripped the podium. "Before I accept this degree, I have an announcement." He turned to our row. "My sister Ashley will fund my yacht booking app with $1.5 million from her trust fund." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones rose. 300 faces swiveled toward me. Dad stood first, folder in hand. He climbed the side stairs, Mom behind him. Security hesitated but let them pass. Family, after all. Dad reached the stage edge. "Sign the commitment," he said, loud enough for the front rows. He opened the folder. The same power of attorney. Pen clipped to it. Mom leaned close. "Sign, or you're out. No more family." The mic amplified every word. Whispers turned to murmurs. A professor on stage frowned. I rose from my seat, the program crumpled in my fist. "No." My voice carried clearly across the field. Justin's smile vanished. "You can't be serious." Dad thrust the paper at me. "This is public now. Backing out embarrasses us all." Mom hissed. "Think of the investors watching." I stepped into the aisle. "It's my money." "No." Justin dropped the diploma. He charged across the stage. "You owe me." His hands shoved my shoulders hard. I stumbled backward, my heel catching on the mic stand. The metal base tipped. My head cracked against the sharp edge. Pain exploded in white. Blood poured warm down my temple. The stage spun. Screams erupted from the crowd. Phones flashed, recording video. "Oh my God! Call 911! He hit her!" Justin froze, his hands outstretched. "I didn't mean." Dad grabbed his arm. "Control yourself!" Mom covered her mouth. "Ashley, get up, you're fine!" I tried to stand, but my vision blurred red. The mic stand clattered loudly. Security rushed the stage, 2 officers in uniform. "Step back, everyone!" A guest shouted. "I got it on video! The clip's already uploaded!" Notifications pinged across screens. #grad assault trended locally in seconds. Paramedics pushed through. "Head injury. Clear space." Justin backed away, his face pale. "It was an accident," Dad argued with an officer. "Family matter. We'll handle it internally." The cop cuffed Justin's wrists. "Public assault. You're coming with us." Mom pleaded. "He's graduating." "This is a misunderstanding." The crowd filmed everything. Comments flooded in. "That's the Brooks kid." Sister said no to funding. "Blood everywhere." I lay on the stage, gauze pressed to my scalp. The lights were too bright. Sirens wailed closer. The dean canceled the rest of the ceremony. Guests filed out in shock, still recording on their phones. Justin was loaded into a cruiser. Dad followed, yelling about lawyers. Mom stayed, tears streaking her mascara. Will I make a scene? Blood soaked my gown. The mic lay bent beside me. Security sealed off the area. The video hit 1 million views before the ambulance doors closed. I woke up under emergency lights, monitors beeping steadily. Naples Memorial ER smelled of iodine and plastic. A nurse adjusted an IV, saying concussion protocol. Stay awake. The doctor entered with a clipboard. Ashley Brooks. Head laceration, 12 stitches. Mild traumatic brain injury, 2 cracked ribs from the fall. CT clear, no bleed. Observation overnight. He signed the chart. Pain meds every 4 hours, no screens, family outside. Dad paced the hallway, visible through the glass. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. Just a misunderstanding, probably. Emily, the hospital social worker, pulled the curtain. Her badge read, Emily Rivera, MSW. Hi, Ashley. I handle safety plans. She sat on a stool. What happened on stage was assault. You don't have to protect them. I shifted, my ribs protesting. It escalated fast, she nodded. Videos everywhere. Police report filed. Restraining order option available. She slid me a pamphlet. Resources if you need distance. Dad knocked. We're coming in. Emily stood. Patient needs visitors. I hesitated. Not yet. She blocked the door. Give her space. Voices muffled outside. Emily returned. Your call changed everything. Press charges. I stared at the ceiling tiles. Maybe. She handed me a card. Call anytime. Shelter counseling. Legal aid. Alone again, I reached for my phone. The screen was cracked and the battery was low. I dialed the number from the trust email. Fletcher Law Group. A receptionist answered. Harold Fletcher for Ashley Brooks. Urgent. Hold music played classical. Then his voice, calm. Miss Brooks, I saw the news. En route. An hour later, the curtain parted. Mr. Fletcher's silver hair, navy suit, and black briefcase entered with a nurse's escort. He set the briefcase on the tray table. Margaret prepared for this, he said, clicking the locks. Folders emerged, thick with seals, a full trust copy, contingency clauses, fraud safeguards. He opened one. Your grandmother suspected mismanagement. She embedded audit triggers. I leaned forward, wincing. They want control now. He slid a document across the table. Anti-duress provision. Any transfer under coercion voids the POA. Automatic freeze. Another file. Email chain, Margaret to me, 2018. If Martin attempts early access, release evidence. My pulse quickened despite the meds. Mr. Fletcher continued. Bank records, shell companies. 70% of royalties diverted since 1990. I exhaled. They faked contracts, forged signatures. We have originals. He closed the briefcase. They can't touch what's yours. Not without court. The weight lifted, an invisible shield. For the first time, someone stood between me and obligation. Dad's voice rose outside. She's our daughter. Security intervened. Sir, lower your volume. Mr. Fletcher stood. I'll coordinate with the police. Statement tomorrow. I nodded. Yes. He packed up. Rest. Margaret built this fortress for you. The door clicked shut. The monitors beeped softer. Emily checked in. Lawyer? Grandma's? She smiled. Good. You're not alone. The night shift dimmed the lights. Pain dulled under medication. I stared at the briefcase's outline in the dark. Protected. The words settled warmly. Morning brought broth and jello. Dad tried to enter again, denied. Mom left a flower card, unsigned. Emily discharged me with instructions. Follow up with a neurologist. Rib brace. No work for 2 weeks. Mr. Fletcher waited in the lobby, car idling. Home or hotel? Hotel. He nodded. Smart? The drive blurred past palm trees. The briefcase sat on the seat between us. For the first time, family didn't mean surrender. Weeks after discharge, a court notice arrived at the hotel. Collier County Courthouse. Emergency guardianship hearing. Petitioner, Martin Brooks. I read the filing in the lobby. Ashley Brooks suffers from a delusional disorder, refuses family support, and is incapable of managing finances. Medical attachments highlighted the stage incident, trauma-induced paranoia. A psychological evaluation, dated 2 days post-accident, claimed impaired judgment. Mr. Fletcher met me outside the marble steps. Counter strategy ready. He carried a slim tablet, no briefcase today. Inside the courtroom, it smelled of polished wood and old paper. Judge Elena Ramirez presided, her robe black, her expression neutral. Martin sat with his attorney, Richard Clean, his suit pressed sharply. Deborah sat beside him, clutching her handbag like a shield. Justin was absent. Bail conditions barred contact. The clerk called Case 2025 GU 1847. Clean opened. Miss Brooks rejected aiding her brother's education and legitimate business. Her erratic behavior post-injury requires oversight for her safety and the estate's protection. He projected medical records on the wall screen. Concussion history, public outburst at graduation, refusal of reasonable family requests. Mr. Fletcher rose. Objection. He mischaracterizes voluntary contributions as obligations. Sustained, Judge Ramirez said. I took the stand. Oath sworn. Clean questioned me. You funded Justin's tuition, his vehicle, and startup costs for years. Yes, voluntarily. Yet you denied $1.5 million for launch capital. That demand crossed into coercion, he smirked. Reasonable for family legacy. Correct. No, it was my inheritance. Mr. Fletcher's turn. He inserted a USB into the courtroom laptop. Exhibit A. Email from Margaret Grant to Harold Fletcher, dated March 12, 2018. Subject line: Contingency release, urgent. Body: Harold, if Martin diverts royalties or attempts early trust access, release attached evidence of 1990 contract forgery. Protect Ashley at all costs. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Martin shifted in his seat, his knuckles white. Next slide. Bank statements. 1991 to present. 70% of software royalties routed to Cayman entity, MB Holdings. Annual average, $2.3 million. A forensic accounting report followed. Signature on amendment dated 1990 does not match Margaret Grant's known samples. Forgery probability, 98%. Martin's attorney objected. Chain of custody. Mr. Fletcher produced sealed originals notarized by Margaret's notary in 1985 and filed with the SEC. Judge Ramirez leaned forward, glasses low. Mr. Brooke, what is your response to these alleged diversions? Martin stood. Administrative restructuring. Margaret approved verbally. No record exists, Mr. Fletcher countered. Only a forged addendum. Another slide. Shell Company directors, Martin Brooks, Deborah Brooks. Dividend payouts matched resort expansion loans, unreported to trust auditors. Deborah whispered, "This can't be." Clean tried to recover. Even if true, guardianship protects the principal. Judge Ramirez cut in. The petition claims incapacity. The evidence shows calculated refusal, not delusion. Mr. Fletcher closed. The trust includes an anti-duress clause. Coercion voids any POA. Automatic freeze activated upon filing. The judge reviewed documents silently. The clock ticked loudly. Guardianship petition denied with prejudice. Gavel bang. Fraud investigation opened against Martin Brooks. Referred to state attorney and IRS. Case adjourned. Martin's face drained to ash. He gripped the table edge. Deborah burst into sobs, her handbag spilling tissues. Our reputation. Everything. A bailiff approached. Sir, remain seated until cleared. Reporters in the gallery typed furiously. Headlines were already forming. Mr. Fletcher packed the USB. Trust remains intact. Your assets are frozen from their reach pending audit. I stepped down, my legs steady for the first time in weeks. The room felt larger. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. Brooks heir accused of multi-decade fraud. Microphones thrust forward. Martin shielded his face with a folder. Deborah hurried to a waiting sedan, tears streaming unchecked. Mr. Fletcher guided me through a side exit. Phase 1 complete. Civil suit next. The sun hit the parking lot, hot. Justice finally had a temperature. 6 months later, federal court in Naples sealed the fallout. Martin lost every resort contract, vendors fled, and fraud headlines screamed. The Gulffront mansion sold at auction for pennies. He took a sales job at a strip mall timeshare kiosk, a polyester tie choking him. Deborah moved to a one-bedroom condo downtown. Former bridge club friends ghosted invitations. She shopped alone, her cart rattling down empty aisles. Justin's app crashed on launch, and servers were seized for unpaid bills. Creditors chased $500,000 in loans. He drove Uber in Miami, his red Mustang long repossessed. Late-night fares paid interest only. I filed the name change quietly. Ashley Grant. The clerk stamped approval, no fanfare. Trust dividends flowed clean. Mr. Fletcher structured the Grant Women in Tech Scholarship. Full rides for coders from single-parent homes. The first cohort included 12 students, their laptops gleaming. I visited campus launch day. Recipients shared their stories, late shifts, doubt, code that worked. One girl clutched her acceptance letter. This changes everything. Martin called once from the kiosk. Need a reference? I let the voicemail fill. Deborah sent a birthday card. The return address a condo downtown. Sorry, she had handwritten shakily inside. I filed it unread. Justin messaged from the Uber app. Can we talk? Blocked. The scholarship expanded. An annual gala raised millions. I spoke last. Grandma built systems. I built futures. Cutting ties isn't betrayal. It's survival.